Welcome, and happy Friday, Pat. We made it another week.
Yeah, we did. We're here.
Yeah, well,
We keep going along.
much to the chagrin of some people out there. So,
Well, how to do?
we, like I said yesterday, we are here to offend the few and enlighten the many.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk about is it possible that we could see an inventory shortage again? And then, but the water got a little muddy today. So, we started out with this incredible news. Silicon Valley Bank is shut down by regulators in the biggest financial bank failure since the global financial crisis. That kind of changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
A little bit.
and it showed up in the markets today. And now there's talk, well, how much contagion is there, blah, blah, blah. And they're saying 20 banks that are sitting on huge potential security losses. They're all getting the squeeze. And this is all because rates went up, their margins got squeezed, and it's not good news for startups. That bank had 44% of their deposits were startup companies. But here's the 20 banks that this article is highlighting that might be a problem. I looked at our 7-day moving average, and and Keenan said, "What a dip in rates! Welcome sight. These big swings need to chill." I think the big swings are just beginning. We went down a little bit in contracts, but we also pulled down in new listings, and so the gap actually closed a little bit. There was about a 500 home difference. Now it's 360. So that's just simple supply and demand there. And Stephanie here says, why is it some realtors want you to list your house for sale when you have yet to formally be approved after underwriting? Seems ludicrous and a waste of time. You're saying, let me see, I understand this. List your house for sale when you have yet to be formally approved after underwriting. I'm assuming that's a contingent sale.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming there's some things in there that need to be filled in, but there's some banks that, they basically allow you to bridge loan. You can use your equity. You can list your home. You can basically, they do a loan program where they can take the equity from your current home and apply it to your new home. It's called basically a bridge loan. It's a program. A couple of lenders have that.
Yeah. I was looking here, and we'll touch on that a little second here too. This is the Cromford Demand Index, and you can see that
you always got these nifty little tools.
Well, you know what? My red pen quit working. I went back to the magnifying glass.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I was expecting that blue line to kind of come up a little bit on listings, right? And it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting sales to slow down a little bit, and it hasn't. Now, I think this chart has like a 1-week lag. But again, we're starting to build that gap, and we're starting to lose more inventory. And if you watched the show a while back, I used to track a neighborhood called Ocotillo. And remember when at one point they got down to where they only had 6 homes on the market?
Was there like 3 or 4? I think one day you called me and said there were like 3 homes or something like that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, now it's like 19. So it's still painstakingly low, and the contract ratios are going up. And so there's a lot of stuff out there that is, now you're looking at this edginess in the market. And I'm going to pull up your chart here in a second. And if rates come down, or the Fed decides they have to pause because of this banking situation and trying to stop any contagion, we could end up with a shortage of homes yet again. And not something I want to see.
No, definitely not. So is this my intro?
You're up.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it was a good day in the market.
I got to get some drums or something. So
yeah, you need some music to come out with some like Ricky Fair or something like that.
Oh yeah.
No, the bond market had a great day. Obviously, the last 2 days. I mean, you see, this is actually rates. We saw they tipped up here a couple days ago, and then this is where Barry has been very influential, and I've been watching him, and he didn't put a lockout. He put a lock. I mean, he said, "Let's just wait tight." Remember, I told you a couple months ago, March 10th and March 14th.
Yep.
I mean, he
Here
called
we
it.
are.
Yeah, here we are, and basically, he this is rates. So we broke through some resistance here. The 50-day, 25. Um, we had basically it was the market itself. This 5.5 coupon was up like 70 some basis points. When it got going, it was up. It started the day about up 21 basis points, but it gained momentum through the day, obviously with the Silicon Valley Bank news. But the 5.5 was up 4 basis points. The 10-year Treasury is down to 370. We were tipping at 399 here, obviously just a couple of days ago. So I mean, it just shows you the swings. 21 basis points is a big day on the market. And he basically just said that we really are seeing the cracks in the labor market, and we're seeing obviously some cracks. He feels that the stage is set. He said the job creations of 311,000. Obviously, the estimations were 225,000. But obviously, you wonder what news was built into the Silicon Valley. What the market had some some news that was kind of trying to digest. And he said there's just cracks starting to see. Food stamp benefits are ending. He said there's other cracks I don't want to get into. He went into some detail over his video call this morning, but he goes, people are not finding jobs as quickly as they are. There's acute change. The data doesn't really show this because basically, the feds are going off of, once again, their inexperience. He said their inexperience is starting to show. And he says how much is left in the tank with these job gains because we're basically back to pre-pandemic levels and we're getting there. So, you got an inverted yield curve right now. And he says all this hiking has inverted these curves. There's 120 basis point difference in the short term to long term. And he goes, the banks are paying. This is where you probably see into the banks. He goes, the banks now are paying short term rates higher. They don't have the advantage. Their margins are getting squeezed.
Yeah, I went to bank the other day to deposit a check, and I usually do it on the machine, but I went up and handed the check to the teller, and she right away goes, "We raised our rates today for our CDs." I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Here we go, here we go." Silicon, they could not find a buyer, Michael. They tried to find a buyer. They tried to see if the feds would bail them out, and no mas. Nobody wanted to play in their sandbox.
There's a buyer at every price. Some price there will be a buyer.
Yeah, we'll see. Pat, when is your YouTube channel coming out?
I'm riding on Rick's coattails.
Funny story for everybody. I did a tutorial on how to run this StreamYard program that I use, and I sent it to Jack and the Dynamic Duo and said, in case I get hit by a truck, you guys got to know how to work this thing. And
we didn't open up the email.
None of you have watched it, so I'm going to scold you publicly. So
I know you can't. I know in your will and last testament, you're going to have the directions of what the hell to do.
It's on the first page.
Okay. Well, I'll check it out.
Oh, but Rick's wait. Oh, Pat, you have to take over the show. So
yeah.
So Stephanie, Pat is right. Today's MBS rate is 6.7% versus earlier 7.2. It goes to show you how quickly things can change.
Yeah.
But it also, when rates are going up, it's doom and gloom. Here we go. Oh, they're going to continue to go up. And in one day, now you're going to start hearing people go, oh, it's not going to be long. We're going to be into fives. And, that may not happen. No. The talk of the central bank going up a 0.5 percentage point at their next meeting, I bet that just goes away.
Yeah, that Barry and Dan Habib said that probably is washed out the window because that if they jump at a half, it's going to really, I think they're going to keep the speed going at 100 miles an hour a quarter.
Well, isn't that going to put the banks in a worse situation if he were to do something like that?
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean,
that's what they're trying to balance here.
Yeah, Barry said basically that the banks are, it's a bad situation for banking because, like you said, based on their inexperience, the Feds want to keep hiking, but then you're talking about the spreads in the banks and their money that they're getting and giving out. There's a lot of stuff. Like I said, we could be on. We got to keep our YouTube channel to 20, 25 minutes or so because we could go talk about this stuff for next 3 days. But that's why I try to. I I know more than what I tell them, but I just don't want to get into too much detail because it just it starts, you lose a forest through the trees. But Barry used a very interesting analogy today. He goes, it's like a patient that walked in the hospital that was sick. The nurse gave him a small dose of a medicine, right? And the nurse turned around, a couple hours, wasn't responding, and like, okay, we got to give him another dose. Still not responding. Oh, we got to give him another dose. Before you know it, you've given him 5 doses of stuff, and all of a sudden, something's going wrong. And that's what he's kind of using with that analogy with the Feds. It's like they're doing small doses, but then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we just gave him too much morphine. you know?
So the only answer I can give you after a while, the market just kind of goes, what?
Yeah. What? So
What?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been, but give me an example. I mean, people, I know I was quoting I6s, low 7, 7 and 8, believe it or not. And I can't imagine what a retail bank was quoting, obviously, because like I said, me and my partner, Richard, were saying that, some of these retail banks were quoting probably 8, because we were tipping, 7 3/8, 7 1/4, right around there. And in a matter of a couple of days, I just locked a guy today at 6.5.
Yeah.
That was a difference of about, I can't remember the exact number. It was like, I ran up the night, I calculated the numbers. I said, hey, we did this. And I go, it was something like a $200, $225 monthly difference.
Well, I agree. Bravo here says, cutting the rate, buyers might show up. Well, we're at 3,300 now on a 7-day moving average. So we'll see what happens and see what happens this weekend. I mean, that kind of news can get people in the car real quick.
Oh yeah.
Especially if they think it's a temporary move.
Mm-hmm.
So there's people on the phone right now going, let's get out there now. We might want to lock. Let's see.
But the problem is, though, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, that still doesn't change the inventory problem. I mean, you could have another 10,000 buyers out there, but the inventory still is not moving.
Yeah. And Terry says real estate mindset said Phoenix is going down first. Said he went to Copper Canyon, and Desert Oasis. The first development to crash. Hand waving. People crying. Well, here's something from the Crawford report talking about that a little bit. I'll have to read this to you because it's too small. It said, the reason I have said the majority of people seem to assume that the rise in mortgage rates over the past 5 weeks will have caused home buyers to reconsider and delay their purchases. While there may be some or even many who have done just that, reports from new home sales offices suggest that orders have stayed remarkably strong. Sales incentives are not being raised, and I fear that the result will be another shortage of homes within a few months because they are not adding to the inventory. Their permits are way down. They're saying that January's permit count for single-family dwellings in Maricopa was 1,102, following a more dismal count of 997 in December. These are down from the 3,000 level during the second half of 2020 and 2021 and the first half of 2022. So the new permits are way down. So if there's anything that kind of starts popping up and we don't see, builders are only building now the homes that they can, they want to sell them like spec homes because nobody's going to, in this interest rate environment, say, I want that house. Oh, it won't be done till September. Okay. Because we don't know where rates are going to be in September. So they're not, that kind of product is not moving. Most of the comps in your area are pending. There's about 5 under contract. It's, I hate to use the word brisk out there, but it feels brisk again because we don't have, look, we got 14,600 homes on a Friday. That's the highest number for the week now. So that'll go down until it'll get its lowest level on Tuesday. It'll start eking back up as we get towards the weekend. So that's why I said, is there going to be another shortage? Because I think we don't need that. And I think the Fed is in a very precarious position that they're trying to pull down inflation, and the banks can't handle this margin squeeze, and it's a tangled web. But don't worry, Pat, because Janet Yellen says she thinks we're fine.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
Well,
the one that said inflation was going to be transitory too. So
yeah. That's where that's where Barry Habib has just been blasting these guys. I mean, he's like the Fed experience, just starting to showing, which is kind of scary. I mean, you look at. I mean, I'm not to get political, or I'm not trying to be, but I'm just trying to state the facts. You watch us yell and talk. What's her first name again?
Janet.
Janet. Yeah, Janet. I was going to say Margaret for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, she just doesn't bode a level of confidence that they know what the hell they're doing. I know she's
Well,
not.
but she was the Fed. She was the Fed chairman before she was
God,
Treasury, and
they just. I mean, Powell. I mean, he's in a precarious position. But just a side note. I had a client of mine. People that were locking at say 7 and 8. I've had a couple of people throw out to me saying, well, if rates do come down, because there's no guarantee people. I never guarantee people can refinance that rates are going to come down, because 9 out of 10 mortgage brokers say, oh yeah, don't worry, we can refinance in the future. You might not be able to. You don't know.
right, yeah,
You don't know. I mean, that's just that's just. I mean, I tell people, yeah, possibly, but it's not 100% guarantee. Because I hate that statement that people say, don't worry, we get this rate and you'll be able to refinance down the road.
you might be able to.
Yeah, you might be able to.
I like certainty and
I like that. I think there's a good chance. Obviously, Barry is saying rates are going to come down, but I had somebody, a couple of people say, well, these people are, I didn't lock. I waited. I watched Barry. I mean, I did not. The locking I did was last night and today. I mean, basically, it was painful to watch rates go up because I got a couple of contracts a week ago, and I tried to, as I take pride in the fact of watching rates better than the average mortgage guy. And if you call a big call center, on January 1st, 30-day close, regardless of whether rates have gone up for the last month, they're just going to lock you for 30 days. But I'm like, dude, let's just sit back. Rates have gone up the last week and a half. We're going to see a pullback. Once again, we've had some situations where I've saved money. It's not all the time, but you got to be smart about it. And it's one of those things that, watching the rates, I had people come out and say, well, at 7%, rates do come down, home values are going to fall down, and I won't be able to refinance. I go, quite the contrary, that if you lock in at, say, 7%, let's say a higher rate, if rates do come down, you and I both know you're going to see more demand, which is going to keep the.
Yeah, and rates are not going to have to come down too much to see more demand, because I think that in the market right now, people are getting used to this ping pong going back and forth, and it's it's like there was an old show out there my parents used to watch called Singing Along with Mitch. Follow the bouncing ball, and it bounced over.
I don't want to date myself, but I think I remember that.
yeah, it was god awful. That's when you went downstairs with your brother and played ping pong.
Yeah.
So, bravo, man. I want to, you're saying you're concerned about rates dropping too much, and dropping. The closer we get to 5, the more brisk the market's going to get. Yeah, I don't want to see any heating up.
No,
I'd like to stay at 6 for a while.
Yeah,
personally,
yeah.
It's a calmer market. People are able to negotiate. Prices are not going to come flying up. They're going to stay level. They might even come down. I'd like to see us stay there, 6.5.
Well, you know what?
Let me down to 5, and the bidding wars start showing up again. And
can I had a train thought go through my head. Can I stop?
Yeah. Before it leaves the station, please.
Well, no, actually, it just did. Jesus. Keep going. God, I got to interrupt you sometimes because it
happened in real time.
Damn, Jesus.
It'll come back.
It'll come back
for it. Jackie says, "I'm worried we have a problem either way." It goes with my last comment. Yeah, they tighten too much, and Keenan, you can see, we're at
here real quickly.
Wait, hold.
I've been doing this 23 years. I've never seen a market. This kind of goes to show you how tight the market is overall. Buyer demand, buyer and sellers. I have just never been in a market with doing mortgages where rates on a weekly, daily, weekly, and monthly basis affect demand. I've never seen that before. Honestly,
Well, it usually doesn't move this fast.
I just never thought about that. Because like you said, I just quoted a guy the other day, and his payment changed by like $200 and some a month. It's like that just goes to show you the tightness in this market for some reason. It's not. There's just this. It expands quick, contracts, and it's just it's it. I think people have to be going back to buying and selling. You get. I think people get so caught up in all this stuff that they you have to just like Jackie has said too, a couple of days ago, our renowned analyst and Jackie, she said, regardless, everything's on a case by case basis. And there's so much noise going on out there, rates and banks and this and that, you know, just you gotta, and obviously, I think you and I make a goal of just trying to take the noise out of it and just try to give people the facts and not have a motive, agenda, but just say, here's what it is. And I think people have to base their situation on what do I need to do for my family?
Well, and if the scary stuff out there, and if you're a person that likes to plan, you need to pay attention to this.
Oh yeah.
NASA discovers an asteroid that has a slight chance of hitting the Earth on Valentine's Day 2046. So let's see,
Okay.
how old will I be? I won't be here.
Yeah.
You probably will be, Pat, but
Now, if you were still doing the YouTube channel then, I tell you what, kudos to us. Jesus.
yeah, it'd be really
Oh, shit.
in a wheelchair. I'll be on oxygen. I'm like inventory, and you're going to be on the other side going, "What?
What? Can't hear you."
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, yeah, I can never hear you. Yeah, it's Thursday. You're thirsty? Yeah, let's go have a beer.
Yeah.
Now tomorrow, let everybody know. I wonder if rates will go back up. Jackie, here's another dollar. I don't. Oh, when the closer the asteroids get, this dollar will only be worth like a less than a penny at that stage. So I'll go ahead and make the bet with you, Jackie, and then you and Pat can do it. So, but Pat, tomorrow's your big day, and St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day parade for Phoenix.
St. Patrick's Day parade. I could not find your picture when I Googled it, but I found somebody that was the master of that.
That's my dad. Yep.
And now the other thing I discovered, it's kind of like Santa Claus. There isn't just one. There's a lot of you out there.
Yeah. Well, there's only one. I've never walked to. I for St. Patrick's Day, I dress up and I go to some bars, but I've never seen guys dressed up like my uncle and my dad did this for the last 40 years. My dad, the one you're showing there, he passed away in October of 2021, but I took it over for them. But God bless his soul. But I have a blast with the parade's tomorrow, and then I do St. Patty's Day on Friday, so it should be fun. I will tell you one thing. Ever since I moved I'm working from the office a little bit more. But the camera is a lot clearer. I think I'm needing Botox for my forehead. I think
you want me to send somebody over right now?
Yeah, you have no wrinkles in your, it's the wrinkles are really starting to show.
Well, that's because you're out in the golf all the time. So,
Anyway,
but no, I thought that was a great shot. I found that today and said, let's put Dad up there.
Yeah, that's what I look like. That's my uniform. So,
but now the bar is closed. The one on.
I'll send you pictures of post.
Camel.
But anyway,
yeah, do that. Well, look, it just lined up to be a very interesting week, and I apologize for my coughing. I'm gonna have to edit that out, just like I did with Pat. But I've got a wicked cold, and it's been a brutal day. So,
yeah.
So it's all about the lighting, Pat. It's all about the lighting. So
yeah, I know.
Well, folks, take on the weekend. We'll follow this up on Monday.
Yeah, we got Tuesday. We got the CPIs or next week, so we got interesting week follow through. So, all right, buddy.
Talk to you soon, guys.
Yeah, bye.
See ya.